In Saint Lucian kweyol, a Macoumere is originally a child's godmother, implying a very close friend of the family. But somewhere along the way, Macoumere also came to mean a derogatory term for a man who acts like a female. How did this happen? Was homophobia imported into the island from other cultures?
It was not insulting, but then again, when we go back to the media and the music, we see where the influence can come, because when we think of the music and the lyrics, Macoumere may not necessarily mean in the lyrics of the music, my friend. It may mean that being very insulting or instilling or trying to bring a form of violence onto persons who are LGBT. Because when we think of songs saying you're a Macoumere or whatever, you don't see it as a friendly gesture.
The irony is that St. Lucia is a country deeply steeped in the traditions and the values of the Catholic Church. Values that tolerated and forgave the crime of pedophilia for decades before public and legal pressure led to hundreds of millions of dollars in lawsuits.
Of course, if we go back to biblical terms, and you know Saint Lucia is considered a Christian society, when we think of what the churches preach out there, growing up in the church, and this again, when we think of homosexuals who are brought up in the church, they themselves suffer with internalized homophobia because they're battling their internal homophobia, knowing that they can't express themselves truly because what they're brought up in, what they're taught is so wrong.
The consequences can be tragic and devastating.
If we go deeper, we could also think of suicide, depression, and all of the roots that are built from that.
American ambassador to the Eastern Caribbean, Roger Nias, tried to bridge the chasm between conservative Christian values and modern secular humanism when he visited St. Lucia last week.
I'm a religious person. A lot of, I know this is a fairly, conservative religious, area, but that doesn't mean you can't be religious and a member of the LGBTQI community or an ally. So it's not one or the other. You can be both.
However, in the same way that homophobia was imported when reggae turned away from Pan-Africanism toward promiscuity and gang culture, there's a growing sense that inclusivity for gay people and other marginalized groups is an important phenomenon being foisted on the region.
Folks in St. Lucia, many folks who won't speak publicly about it, believe that all people should have rights. All people should live their authentic lives and be able to do so freely without fear of physical violence, being denied a job, being denied a loan. Those are values you hold dear here. They are not values that are coming from outside.
Ambassador Nias used an example from outside the gay community to illustrate how inclusivity reaps rewards for years, even decades after the fact.
I'm personally very passionate about a woman named Shirley Chisholm. Shirley Chisholm spent a chunk of her childhood in Barbados. She became the first first African-American woman to run for president. And here we are, her 100th birthday is coming up, and here we have a Black woman running for president in the United States. And look at how far we've come. Those are not values owned only in the United States. These are values that people throughout the Eastern Caribbean and throughout the world hold very dear.
Regardless of the origins of hate in St. Lucia, many in the LGBTQ community agree that things are changing for the better. Who would have thought it was possible for St. Lucian to be a world-famous, award-winning drag queen, or for the same drag queen to walk the streets of Rodney Bay without being insulted?
You think, 10 years ago when I came here in 2014 and 2013, and people like little comments like "bula," stuff like that. But you know what I mean. But I think a lot of it has changed, and I think that is the progress that that the hard work that 758 Pride is doing.
For Choice News Now, I'm Jason Seafley.